Welcome to the next edition of Down. My name is Brad Nadauld. We've got the coach Lindsey Parry with us once again. Lindsey, it's great to be with you, but I have to be honest, I am tired. I am so tired. I'm tired of training and I'm tired of fighting people on Facebook.
Yeah, Brad, you have been at it, but I feel your pain because I just avoid going on Facebook now. Unfortunately, the South African running scene just isn't a positive one. Um, yeah, and I have read one or two of your posts, and it's the typical South African. I agree with you, but because
I
I
had to
I
laugh.
think that.
That is so true. I didn't actually even say that to you, Lindsey, because I decided after reading a few of those, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I can't waste any more energy of this. I'm training hard for Comrades. I'm tired from that. I'm probably grumpy. I'm hangry all the time. And I was like, you know what, I'm done fighting with people. But it's exactly that. Like a long time ago, I realized that if somebody's arguing with you and they make a massive argument and then they go yes, but, and then they make it, you can ignore everything before the but. So it's like they might agree with you, but if there's a but in there, it's like, I'm not a racist, but then, like you don't even have to continue arguing. It's as simple as that. But enough about arguing with people on Facebook. Lindsey, I feel like we've been saying for the last 6 weeks, big training. We're in big training, but we are in big training. And it's crunch time now. I mean, we are sort of inching towards the end of May. We're nearly there. Like, I don't want to say we can see the finish line because Comrades is still coming, but we can see the finish line on the big training. There's a lovely South African word called vasbyt, which we're going to use on Comrades Race Day. For those international listeners and viewers, vasbyt means just bite down hard. It's like almost biting down on your mouthpiece. You're nearly there. This is where we're at with Comrades training. It's you're supposed to feel like this, aren't you?
Yeah, so if you really want to know where vasbyt comes from,
Tell
Brad,
me.
it's literally chew on leather. So you know back in them days, pre-war, as one of our friends in Belgium likes to use the phrase, people used to bite down on leather. So they'd put a block covered in leather, and when you were having an operation or something removed, bite. So vasbyt, chew on leather. That's
Where it
literally
comes from.
where
There
it
you go.
comes from. But it's apt for now. And so 6 weeks to go for me is always it's nerve-wracking. I mean, we really are there. Time went way quicker than you actually thought. January, we were telling people plenty of time. All of a sudden, we have almost time warped to 6 weeks. And so if you think the last almost 5 months, 4 months, we're getting to the end of April. If you think the last 4 months went fast, well, buckle up because the last 6 weeks go very quickly. But I have been running with a couple of people, and that's a theme. Okay, people are tired. Particularly up here on the high felt, it's literally just started getting cold in the mornings. It's been dark for a little bit. So we definitely full on headgear, need lights to run in the dark. And so all these things kind of just add up, Brad, to make you tired. We had a whole bunch of people who just did their long runs yesterday or Saturday. And we've got a ton of people. In fact, the vast majority of people are either going to be doing their long or will be doing their long run this weekend, but they'll either use the 1st of May. A lot of people like to do that. Up here, we've got the Wally Hayward Marathon. So tons of people are going to do the Wally Hayward Marathon as their long run. Down in the Western Cape, we've got the False Bay Ultra. So I know tons of people are going to be using that as their Comrades long run. But I think the point I'm making is that we are tired, and there's this big run looming. But also to be mindful of the fact that 6 weeks and it's gone and we're there, and we've really only got another 4 weeks to make an impact on our fitness. So in many ways, these 4 weeks are almost the most important 4 weeks of the whole lot of training.
Yeah, Lindsey, I forgot to address the elephant in the room when we started the podcast too. For those of you who haven't noticed, Lindsey is a Liverpool fan, and we're recording this bright and early Monday morning. I'm surprised you're here, Lindsey, after winning the league yesterday. Congratulations.
Look, fortunately, I am a 47, I think I'm about to turn 48-year-old man. So I do love sport. And of course, we all must pick a team. And I've been supporting Liverpool since I was a little kid. But yes, fortunately, I am an adult man, so I didn't have to run outside with no clothes on celebrating Liverpool's win. It was just nice to be on the right side, and to be supporting the winning team last night. So, yes, we definitely had some fun, had some people around. Definitely got a big smile on my face this morning. But yeah, as you said, bright and early this morning, and we've got 20,000 plus runners anxiously waiting to hear what they should do this week. So yes, here we are. We are recording our podcast.
As they say, the show must go on. Linz, you mentioned sort of the tiredness and the fatigue and long runs, and this is where we're at now. It's quite weird. Like, I haven't, up until last week, I had a run, and the point I'm trying to make is I haven't actually really figured out in my head yet that I'm running Comrades this year. It's always been like the next step, the next step, the next step. So it was like I needed to qualify. So it was working towards Cape Town Marathon. And then it was like working towards Peninsula because it's just another marathon training run. Then it was working towards Two Oceans. And for the first time in this sort of build up to Comrades, I think it was in my run on Friday, I actually just let my mind drift and sort of visualize and the penny drop that I'm running Comrades. And I had this panic attack mid-run where I was like, holy smokes, it's 6 weeks to go to Comrades. I don't think I'm ready. And it's been a while since I ran Comrades. And then when I got back from that run, I went and looked at the mileage I've done for previous, and I'm pretty much on track. But having those sorts of thoughts where you're going 6 weeks from now, where you're stressing, that's normal. It's okay to feel that way, I'm guessing.
Look, it's completely normal. I mean, is that a lot of, especially the novices, Brad, you've done this, and it has been a while. So I think it's actually apt how you're experiencing things because your brain definitely forgets. Okay. You've done Comrades, you've been through this process, you've at least got some numbers to fall back on. So you can go back and go, oh, but I'm actually pretty much on track with what I've done before when I finished Comrades. In fact, you can even go a little bit further back and look at your first attempt at Comrades and see how much better off you are now than when you were an actual novice. Okay, so you've got that. For a lot of people, they are literally taking our word for it. You know, we are the ones that know, and therefore Lindsey says, therefore I'm going to be okay. But that doesn't take away the fact that you are nervous. Doesn't take away the fact that for loads of people that are running Comrades is going to be double what they've ever run. Okay, so I am going to let you in on a little secret, Brad, is that when you ran and finished Two Oceans, you were also ready to run and finish Comrades. Yes, we've had a good couple of weeks since then, but you, in essence, would have given it a really good shot of finishing Comrades on the day that you ran Two Oceans. And what we are trying to do now is make that journey a little bit surer, give you a little bit more confidence, give you a bit more time to train, time on your feet. You did 56 Ks and you're going to do 50 Ks this coming weekend. And now I'm talking about you personally, but there's a lot of people out there that'll be doing the same thing. And you will feel so much better doing that. And you will start to get a little bit of confidence, but the doubt will linger because even if you feel quite good on Sunday, you'll know that there's another 39 kilometers on top of what you've just done, another whole marathon. And can I tell you, my first Comrades, it unraveled at 39 kilometers to go because mentally, it was one of the most bizarre running experience I've had because I was running. I was feeling so good. It was a down run. I had just gone through past the Kersney boys and they were doing war cries and that just gives you a psychological lift, a little bit like anyone listening who ran London Marathon yesterday. When you go past the Cutty Sock, and you'll remember this from when you ran, or Tower Bridge, there's so much support on the route, but those points are so hectic that you get like fired up. And I was fired up and I was like, I'm going to do this. And then I looked 39 Ks to go. And in my brain, I was like, only a marathon. It was like someone, the rug from underneath me and I was mentally done. I mean, I finished in a reasonably good time, but all I'm saying is that you're right, Brad. It is. You are sitting here, you've got 6 weeks to go. Have I done enough? It's so far. These things are normal. Don't run away from them. It's good to be a little scared. We're going to talk more about race day later on, but on race day, you're going to have the same thoughts. I guess that's what I'm saying. But do trust the process. Know that with 6 weeks left to go, we have got the next 3 weeks in particular, 4 weeks, we can really move that needle forward in fitness, make you stronger, make you faster. So all the things that we've been saying up to now, do your strength training. If you haven't started doing strength training, it's not too late to start. However, you can't go into the gym and start squatting 1.5 times body weight and bench pressing body. That's just going to make you very stiff and sore. So you want to start, but you want to just go easy. A little bit of strength training will make a big difference on race day still. So do all the things, focus on the process, and that will help you to just alleviate that anxiety of, oh my goodness, we've only got 6 weeks left. It's very far. They keep telling us how many hills. Everyone who's run Comrades just keeps telling you how hard it is, because that stuff can snowball. Take a step back, focus on the process, focus on where you are now, do the work for the next month. You are going to be okay.
Lindsey, let's talk a little bit about this long run. And obviously, the guys and girls who've done their last long one this weekend are in a slightly different boat to those of us who are doing our last one this coming weekend or at Wally Hayward. But you've always spoken about using these long runs as dress rehearsals for Comrades. And I'm going to use myself as the example here, but I know you've had a couple of questions with regards to other gear like shoes and that sort of thing. So things didn't go quite according to plan at Oceans from a gear perspective for me. So I ended up, as you know, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast, but I ended up with massive blisters on the bottom of my feet, on both feet, on the ball of my foot. Thankfully, they've healed. I'm running pain-free again, which is cool. But it is a bit of a concern because obviously it's another 30 Ks that I need to go longer than Oceans. So I'm now starting to second guess the socks I was running in, the shoes I was running in. What's the process here? Do I use false bait to give it, try something different, or do I just try and fix what I think might have been the problem? What's the way to go here?
If you're over 50 and want to recover from sessions faster, run pain and injury free, and improve your endurance, then be sure to join Lindsey and I for our upcoming Faster Beyond 50 masterclass. In it, we'll show you how we helped a 70-year-old run a 47-minute, 18-second 10K and how you can take those exact same principles and apply them in your training. Simply scan the QR code that's on screen right now or click on the link in the description below to save your seat in the training now. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, Brad, you do. And these are some of the conundrums. The vast majority won't have this experience, but it's part of the reason why we do the long run fully kitted out, is because we want to pick up those exact problems. And you've picked it up at Oceans, and Oceans is slightly unique, particularly around the camber in the last 14 kilometers. And that camber on tired legs could be the entire reason why your blisters are, well, both that you got blisters and that they were so bad. But the point is, yes, we need to look at what we think the problem was, try and address it in our training, just to make sure that what we're going to try isn't going to cause something else. So we've had some 25 and 30K runs since Oceans to be able to test new socks, a blister pack, whatever it is in your case. But for someone else, it might be bleeding nipples. For someone else, it might be bad chafe between your cheeks and your bum, or between your legs, or under the arms. You know, maybe it was the first time you ever ran in a running vest and you got terrible chafe, or a bad blister on your heel where the shoe ripped the skin. Whatever those things are, that's why we do these very long runs. Now you've got another very long run coming up. We think we've got a good idea what the issue was for you, socks. So now you're gonna jump into a different pair of socks on a slightly different route, and you're gonna go at Comrades pace, which can be a bit slower than you ran at 2 oceans, and hopefully that's going to solve your gear problem. And there will be a couple that it won't. Okay. And again, this is why that long run is super important, because when you have done false Brad, we're going to sit and have a chat and go, did that work? Yes or no? Yes. Cool. Relief. Move on. No, it didn't work. Okay. What else can we look at? We can go and look at a proper blister pack that creates a second skin for you. And then you are still going to have another 30-kilometer run where we can test the blister pack on the 30-kilometer run. But that is what this long run is for. In an ideal world, you are going to run Comrades in the same pair of shoes that you're going to do this long run in. But there are 6 weeks between now and Comrades. And for a lot of people, they don't have the luxury of, this shoe now has done 200, 250 Ks. It's perfect for me. I'm going to put it aside and I'm going to run the rest of my training in my second or third pair of shoes. For a lot of people, they really got to get everything they can out of a pair of shoes. And if that is you, the chances of you actually having the shoe now that you're going to run Comrades in, they're 50-50. Because if you bought the shoe last week, you probably will still have it for Comrades. But if you've already run 300 or 400 Ks in that shoe, chances are that that shoe is going to be very dicey for Comrades, or this might be one of the last runs you're going to get out of that shoe. So I think the question there is, when is the last possible time I can buy a new pair of running shoes and still be okay to run Comrades in them? And for me, the answer is 2 weeks. Okay, that's really cutting it fine. But ideally, it'll be kind of next week or the week after, and giving yourself 3 to 4 weeks in that shoe, because the modern shoe is actually good to go. I mean, you can put it on and go for a run. The problem is the modern shoe also is made by a machine. And so while there aren't lots of defective shoes, you just don't know if that shoe's defective until you've run in it. And a truly comfortable shoe, one that your foot has now fitted into and worn itself into for your unique running style and stride, needs at least 50 Ks on it, preferably 100 to 150. Then it's full of cushioning still for race day. You've imprinted your foot nicely into that inner sole. You've just worn off the new shoe kind of inside and on the upper of that shoe. So yeah, you fingers crossed, this is your Comrade shoe. You're going to run in it on Saturday or Sunday, or at Wally Hayward on Thursday. And then that's your shoe. But if it's not, yeah, just make sure that you do give yourself that 100 and 150 Ks if you can, to just get your foot nice and comfy in that shoe.
Yeah, Lindsey, you've also spoken about lists and making sure you like note down where things chafe and where things don't fit quite right. So it's still important to keep those lists, and if something happened on that long run, try and change it on this next one. And then before we talk a little bit about the sort of recovery bit out of this long run and the stiffness and the pain that people might be in now, I did want to mention, and I forgot to mention at the top of the podcast, is we're doing something for the very first time at Comrades in 2025 as Coach Parry. We're doing a bit of an aches and pains get together on the Monday after Comrades. We're going to be doing a lunch, a couple of drinks. We've got some entertainment as well, but we only have 100 spaces available. And I know we literally have thousands of people that listen to this podcast. We've got thousands of people in our community. So I'm putting it out there now. Brace yourself. We will be announcing it on email. So if you're on our email newsletter list, you will get an email later on this week. I would just suggest you go fastest fingers first, because it is going to be an absolute jewel. We are really looking forward to it. It's going to be an opportunity to celebrate you at the day after Comrades and hear some of the war stories. And hopefully that it's a successful one for everyone. So do keep an ear out and an eye out for that email, and make sure if you do want to join us on the Monday, you get your tickets right away, because they are going to sell out. Okay, only 100 spots available. They are going to go very, 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 very fast. So just a heads up on that. Lindsey, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I do, because it's going to be an opportunity to hang out with the whole Coach Parry team in a casual setting. But the good news is that I'm pretty sure you guys are really tired of Brad and my voice by then. So you won't have to listen to us speak. You'll just be able to hang out with us. We will have a surprise guest speaker that we'll announce later that you can get to listen to. You don't have to listen to us. We'll give you a little bit of a break from that for a while.
Yeah, and there are going to be some pretty cool lucky draws in that as well. So make sure you get your ticket as soon as that email goes out. Lindsey, let's talk about the recovery side of things and the pain. And again, I'll talk sort of personal experience coming out of Oceans. Obviously, my feet were a mess. I wasn't able to run. But I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise that I had to give my feet a bit of a break, because when I did start running again, my legs felt amazing. And I was just watching everybody on Strava and that sort of thing, sort of jumping straight back in. And I thought to myself, man, I couldn't imagine running 2 or 3 days after Oceans. I'm guessing it's the same sort of principle coming out of this long run. We do need to give our body some time to recover so that we can not do any damage in the runs that follow up after that.
Yeah, look, typically I do like to give 3 days. I mean, that's kind of the number that I do give out of the Comrades long run. But the reality is that for this run in particular, because most people won't be doing it in a race. Okay, so I know you are, Brad, and there's quite a few people in the Western Cape that will be doing False Bay. And a couple of thousand that will be doing Wally. But out of the 24,000 people that have entered Comrades, maybe 4,000 of those are going to do this long run in a race. The other 20,000 are doing it out on the streets. And so that kind of little bit of race pressure will go, and they will genuinely either be at or even slower than Comrades race pace, and that's fine. So that makes a huge difference, Brad. I think that's really important. I still like to just have a couple of days off. But the degree of difficulty, the slight drop in intensity will make a big difference. So you won't be as sore, you won't be as tired. And so while we do want some recovery next week, it doesn't quite need to be at the same level as Oceans. Oceans was also far enough away that I'm actually just, out of pure conservative nature, take a week off. It's not going to hurt you. You are going to feel better for it. You are going to make sure that if you do have anything that you've hurt onto Oceans, that it's going to be better. For this, little bit different. We'll be 5 weeks out next week, Monday. So yes, take your 3 days, do some cross training, do some very light strength and mobility training. Just give yourself those few days, and then an easy week. So I'd have a recovery week rather than a rest week, taking it much easier. By the weekend, depending on just how your legs feel, perhaps a long run, but my typical thing would be 20 to maximum 25 Ks, and then 3 weeks out, and we'll remind you about these things as the pods go on, another one more sort of 30-ish, 30 to 36, depending on the plan that you're on. But yeah, that's kind of how I'd play it from here, with 6 weeks and then next week 5 weeks out.
Yeah, Lindsey, and then just, I want to mention this because it was quite funny coming out of Two Oceans, but the comparison game, it's easy to fall into that trap and see what people are doing on Strava and get freaked out that you're not doing enough. I mean, I mentioned that earlier on in the podcast, that it's like you always feel like you haven't done enough, but now's not the time to be playing that game, because everyone's on a slightly different track. Even if you are chasing the same medal, everybody is slightly different. Your thoughts on comparing yourself to others and chasing numbers? And I'm going to tell a funny story after you've given your little bit, if that's cool.
Look, it's one of the things that I really don't like about Strava, because literally Strava is the main comparison game, and it does freak people out. But to your point, even if you're on the same medal, you don't necessarily have the same experience. So you might be comparing yourself to someone who's doing their 15th Comrades and you're doing your first. And that means that you guys are on totally different parts of your journey. But I rocked up at the run at 6 o'clock yesterday morning, and there's a guy that I helped put a plan together in the training group. And I hear him telling someone, at the end of this run, I'm going to be on 110 Ks for the week. And I'm like going, that's not the plan I helped you put together. Okay. And then I ended up running with him for a little while, and he's like, I'm not going to do the whole run today. I was like, oh, good, because he said, you've got an hour and a half for me today, but I'm not going to do the whole run. And I was like, oh, okay, good, because to be honest, I heard you talking to so-and-so, and you're not on my plan this week, that's for sure. So then he laughed, and he said, it's how my week worked out was how he tried to explain it to me. And he said, and I'll be honest with you, it's just very hard watching everyone on Strava. And I said, I don't want to say his name, but I said, how did you feel at Oceans? Oh, no, I had an amazing run at Oceans. I was like, yeah. And the people you're comparing yourselves to on Strava, how was their Oceans? Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, he says, because I know all of these people, we all run together, and he had a fantastic Oceans. It was his first one. And some of the other people really struggled at Oceans, and they've done this before. So you just have to have a little bit of faith in what your plan is, and stop looking around at the other sandwiches on the school ground. Enjoy your sandwich.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, Lindsey, we've had I'm putting this out there because I don't want people to do this, okay? So we've had a couple of people email us after 2 Oceans, comparing themselves to me and my pacing strategy on race day. So let me just say this outright. Just because I hang out with Lindsey does not make me a good runner. I think that's important to say up front. I'm 6'7". I weigh 120, almost 130 kgs, okay? I'm not a Kenyan. I'm definitely not a great runner like that. Do not compare yourself to me because and second of all, I'd never run Oceans. So they were saying like, oh, my pacing strategy, this was my first Oceans. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm rubbish. And then come Comrades too, like, please don't hitch your wagon to me, because like I'm struggling to finish the race myself. Like I'm not the guy. I'm not the bar. If you're comparing me to where you want to be, please don't. Find somebody better. That's all I'm saying. I'm definitely not the person to be comparing yourself to. I just want to say that up front. It puts way too much pressure on me.
No, so it puts a lot of pressure on you, Brad, but I think the important thing there is that there are more people running Comrades that are closer to you than people who are running Comrades that are closer to Gerda. Okay. And so your journey does resonate with them. But I think, to your point, is that even with all the information, it's easy to make mistakes. And obviously we do get to hang out. And so we have spoken about your Oceans, and we know exactly where you made the mistakes. That really means you should have finished Oceans. I mean, you did finish Oceans, but under the official cutoff. So no, I think that's why your journey resonates with people. But again, don't compare yourself to Brad, I think is what Brad is saying, but rather learn with Brad from Brad's mistakes, rather than looking at it and going, oh, that's the way that I should have done it. Yeah.
Learn from my mistakes. That's all I'm saying. And we didn't really. I mean, I did make big mistakes at Oceans, and one of them was obviously asking if I could wear the shirt on Facebook, and that's how it all started. And I think that's the way we're going to end it before we get into more trouble. Linz, thank you very much. We look forward to catching up again next week. Fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan. If you are running a long run this coming weekend, if you are running False Bay, just high five me. Please don't follow me because I don't know what I'm doing. It'll be my first one too. So, Linz, thank you very much. We look forward to catching up again soon.
Take care.